Hello there, I'm Ginger Hamilton, and I'll be reading from my story, Bringing Home the Bacon. I hope you enjoy it. First thing to do is feed the hog corn for about a month, so as the meat won't be bitter. That softens the fat so as you can render it better. You kill him on the first full moon after the weather turns cold to stay, usually in November. Real early on slaughtering day, you fill up a big old cast iron cauldron full of water and set it to boiling. The men folk kill the hog by sticking his jugular vein right away. That's the one about 3 inches back from his jawbone. When the bleeding slows down, they drag him to the scalding place and dip him in the cauldron. Then you roll him around to loosen the hair. It takes a while to get it all off. You scrape, dip, scrape, dip. Keep on doing that till most of the hair's off the hide. Don't leave him in the water too long or the hair will set instead of coming loose. Once you got him scraped clean, you'll find a hamstring on back of both of his hind legs. Then you take a gambling stick, that's just a stick sharpened at each end, and stick it behind the exposed leaders or hamstring and string the hog up on a sturdy pole. Stick the ends of the pole up between 2 forked supports on nearby trees so as he hangs free and clear of the ground. Then pour scalding water over him again to clean him off. Scrape him one more time for good measure. There's always hairs that get missed the first few times around. Now you can get started butchering. First you cut rings around his neck, just like a necklace. Then you twist his head off and set it aside. Later on you'll make souse from his head. Then you let him drain a little longer. Sometimes we put a little old pot underneath him to catch the blood, sometimes not. It ain't like it makes it any less messy. You doing okay there? You look a bit green around the gills. This ain't nothing really. Been doing it since time began. I know you like your bacon. Stand up straight so you can pay attention. Make a cut straight down, starting at his crotch, and run it all the way to the bottom. Pull that big container over here for me, will you? Now you make the second slice, going through the sack that holds, watch out there, his entrails. See how they tumble out and fall right into the tub, pretty as you please? Then you cut them off at the top, pull the skin up and tie them off up here. Next, cut them off at the bottom and do the same thing. That keeps the offal inside. We'll clean up the intestines later on when we make our chitlins, but we need to get him fixed up first. This part's simple here. You just cut each organ loose one at a time and let it drain. Then wash them and set them in cold water to soak while you finish the cutting. Just be careful when you go to slicing the stomach and small bowel off the entrails. You don't want to nick them, or else you'll have a stink you wouldn't believe. Bring a tear to your eye, it would. Get a sausage potty going to put the leaner meat into, and a rendering pot for fat trimmings. We won't be rendering today, that'll come tomorrow. Too much work in one day can kill a body, you know it? You cut out this here leaf lard, that's fat that clings around his entrails, and toss it into the rendering pot. Then slice him straight down the center of his back, right into the backbone. Now you can either take him down yourself to do the rest of the cutting, or call somebody to help. First time I tried it alone, my hands were so slicky I like to never got him situated. Set him on his back, on a board, or a cutting table. Take an axe and chop straight down on both sides of his backbone and lift it right out. The meat will fall into 2 hunks. Take out the tenderloins. See them there on either side of what's left? Right beneath them is your fat back. You can cook that right by itself, makes good eating. Remove the rib cage by cutting between the outside of his ribs and the inside of the middling meat. Each section ought to come out in one piece. Feel around, find these joints there. They feel just like a person's joints do. Cut the shoulders and hams off and set them on something clean along with the tenderloins, like a tarp or another table. Now what you got left is the side meat. Some folks call it the middling. This here thick section of meat on each side is your country bacon once it's cured and smoked. Just slice the bacon off the side meat, cut in the same direction as the ribs run. Some folks make streakoline out of the bacon. It ain't smoked, just salt cured. I prefer bacon to streakoline, don't you? Leave the rest of it to the men folk. They'll take those ribs, put them on a chopping block, and cut the sections into 2-inch wide strips. Later on, we'll can those along with the backbone. They'll cut it apart at each section, makes it easier to can. Ferdy over there will trim up the hams, shoulder, and side meat. The part he trims off will go right into the rendering or sausage pots. What don't go into the pots gets salted right away so the flies don't blow it. Like I told you, the backbones and ribs will get canned. We'll cook those tenderloins and the other organs, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, plus his head, right now. Sausage will be ground up and canned this afternoon. We can leave those fat scraps till tomorrow when we cut them up and render the lard. Tomorrow I'll teach you how we render the scraps and cure the bacon. Right now I think you need a rest. You look a bit green. Wash your hands real good and we'll go have lunch. Thank you.